Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Let us do the editorial analysis for today, that is 12th November and 14th November 2022. Hindu has changed its papers, e-papers layout on Saturday. I was unable to cope up with the new thing. Previously, I was comfortable reading them on the iPad, highlighting the important points and preparing notes out of it. But it has become a bit complex for me today. Next, the first article is Research First. You know, UGC has given new guidelines with regard to the Ph.D. degree awarding. Previously, any student, if Ph.D. or any scholar, if he has to get the Ph.D., he has to publish a paper and that has to go through peer-reviewed journal. So, this particular provision or compulsion is being taken away. Previously, the number of published papers are very high and their quality is very poor. Now, as it is not a compulsion, any paper published will be self-motivated because it brings in identity. Normally, completion of PhD is considered essential to get into a job. But today, you are going to get PhD and there is no compulsion to publish a paper. Obviously, the research quality and research standards are expected to increase. Only serious people will continue the research for long. But if you carefully observe global standards, nowhere this kind of forced paper presentation exists. It is left to the scholar's interest. And even after PhD is awarded, one can continue with their research to ensure the real outcomes of it. And finally, if you consider India, the amount of investment made in advanced research is less than 0.5% of our GDP. So the solution for this and solution for all the problems of higher education in India is more funding from the public and private sector. More percent of GDP has to be spent on research, innovation and in higher education. Next, autonomy oils the wheels of higher education excellence. If you see various global rankings, no Indian institution exists in top 100. In spite of having bright students who are able to run the companies as CEOs, still our educational institutions are not standing high. What can be the reasons for this? Here the debate has to be between autonomy versus regulation. Indian educational sector, especially higher educational sector, is overly regulated by UGC, AICTE. Normally, why the government regulates them? To bring uniform standards. Certain standard has to be maintained. But however, in the name of regulation, what is happening is micromanagement. Even creation of new courses as per the industrial need is not happening in India. On the other side, if you go to Europe, USA, university autonomy is the prior requirement or is being considered as very valuable. So any sector that has dynamism, innovation and evolution on a day-to-day basis, there what works in the long term is autonomy. In this case, European Union, if you go, European University Association, they have a tool that is called University Autonomy Tool. Based on this tool, on various criteria, how much autonomy exists to a given university is being ranked. And greater the autonomy, the university is expected to be performing better. So, India also need to develop such a tool where university autonomy is better expected. And second part is, certain institutions, certain centers of excellence, islands of excellence exist in Indian education, higher education. These are IITs and IIMs. One of the reason is autonomy and financial resources at their disposal can be stated as a reason, And new educational policy, it also emphasizes on autonomy for the higher educational institutions. So, minimal regulation, ensuring quality standards and competition, and also providing for greater autonomy is critical for improvising Indian higher education system. G20 summit to focus on energy and food security. India is going to become the chair for G20 in the coming years. In this context, the world is expecting India to mediate between Russia and Ukraine. And on the other side, what India is expected to focus, one is gender issues and the next is economic cooperation as economic recession is on the way, environmental matters, food security, and reformed institutions for 21st century democratic institutions, global institutions. These are the focus areas for India. One more thing which is missed is Russia-Ukraine mediation, which United States of America has proposed for India. So these are the highlights. And if you see, cryptocurrency and regulation on cryptocurrency is also part of international economic cooperation. You know, Miss Ellen has met Nirmala Sitharaman, and she proposed for common regulation on cryptocurrency, which can be taken forward by India. Behind the smoke screen around private climate finance. If you see climate finance, in 2009 it is proposed that $100 billion per year will be spent by developed countries towards adaptation, losses, devastation caused by climate change. So, damages and losses, adaptation, for all these things, $100 billion will be provided for, and also mitigation. So, these are all different words having different meanings. Now, 2020, if you observe, this goal is not reached. OECD, it has stated that around $80 billion are being spent in 2022, but in reality, it is not even $21 billion. In this, private finance is less than 9%. What was expected is, if government contributes or public finances contributes well, automatically private finance also comes in to encourage the renewable energy, etc. But in reality, private sector is not interested in spending towards climate finance. It is clearly visible. So in this case, mobilizing private finance is a big challenge in fight against climate change. And added to that, the public finance is also not up to the mark which is promised by the developed countries. Here you can use these numbers to express your answer, to strengthen your answer. A sense of an ending. So in this case, the convicts in the assassination of former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi were released. So obviously this is a humane move. And second thing, Indian prison system has something to applaud itself. And most of the people who went into prison came out as qualified, educated people. And second thing is, remission system, we don't have a formal remission procedures and processes or policies. So it is the time we have to revisit, evaluate our existing remission system and improve it for better. Next, saving the precious. So this is very important article for today if I observe. Ministry of Water Resources has released a report on Friday. It stated that India's groundwater recharge was highest this year compared to last 14 years. Though it is minuscule, compared to last 14 years, it is highest. So, groundwater recharge is improving, but it is not the same across the states. The groundwater exploitation is highest in the states of Punjab, Rajasthan, etc. Due to arid climates, recharge is slow in some parts of Rajasthan and Gujarat. And if you come to rocky terrain in South India, obviously the recharge is less. In this case, the groundwater has to be very sparingly used. But today, if you observe, if I have a bit of land, the groundwater under me, I can exploit that to my needs without any regulation. So groundwater under my land is considered as my own resource. So groundwater is a private resource today. So but however, this groundwater, if you consider it as a public resource and it is being metered and then charged, obviously the exploitation of groundwater will come down. So what we need to do, we don't have a law with regard to groundwater today. So bring in the law to regulate the groundwater usage. The second thing is national water policy, draft national policy. It has recommended two important things. Water guzzling crops have to be reduced. Second thing, industrial purposes, we have to use recycled water. So these are the two systems that have to be developed. So again, water shall not be considered as a free private resource. It has to be considered as a common good. The curious case of EWS. Why I have selected this article is the statistical information which it has gave. So first thing is, the EWS reservation is exclusionary. What is meant by exclusionary? It means certain sections of poor people are not being included. Only the poor from the open category are being included in this reservation. One of the criticism is exclusionary. And then economically weaker sections versus poor, if you observe. The definition of poor in India by highest standard, it is 75 rupees per day. But if you take EWS reservation and if you go for that calculation, the earning who is considered as eligible for this reservation as a weaker, that is 2,222 rupees per day. If he has a lesser earning than that, he is considered as eligible for reservation. So it means 99% of the population of India are eligible for EWS reservations by one or the other way. So in this case, by providing the bar very high for EWS reservation, the really needy poor people are going to be disadvantaged from the benefit of reservations. That is the point which I wanted to pick over here. And also another statement, the justification for reservations was given by Mandal Commission. To equate unequals is to perpetuate inequality. This is what is the foundation for reservations. So, our objective is to finally achieve equality. The journey towards it, the means towards it has to move towards inequality through the line of inequality. These are the points we need to remember. So, these are the articles. Oh, one more article is there. New regulations for awarding PhDs. What are these new regulations? No more MPhils exist. Mandatory publishing of a research paper is no more necessary. Any person can enter for PhD program, enroll for PhD program after doing 4 years of graduation or joining the masters, 1 year of masters he can enroll for PhD, or if he is doing graduation plus masters together, then also he can enroll for PhD after doing 5 years of course. So that's where multiple entry points are being brought in to enroll for PhDs now. These are the 3 changes which are being brought in. So these are the articles for today. Thank you very much.